Hi, this is Ed Wright from Wright. Today we're going to talk a little bit about how to find some of the technical information or parts for a particular mower. So starting off here, we're on our main website, wrightmfg.com. If I select support parts, then we go to the parts page. And so from here, you'd get your serial number. The serial number is super key for us because it tells us the model and exactly when the machine was built. So I'm going to enter serial number 77777. I'm going to search for harness. And here in the search results, I have a number of different parts that relate to the harness. I've got a pigtail, but if I select the main harness, I can see the schematic right here. And then down below, there's some key information, some other parts and diagnostic information. And go back to my results here. And then up at the top, I can also pull this down and there's details about the machine here. And I have all my schematic views. So that's the essentials of what you need to know in order to look up a part for your machine. And then from now to the end of the video, I'm going to go into much greater detail on kind of a pro user's guide for this part system. All right, so I'm mostly presenting on this website from a perspective of it being new. If I select here, we can go back to our older parts experience. And it was also serial based, so I can enter a serial number. It would load a bunch of information. But you couldn't do any keyword searches here. And the whole approach really was based off of going through these diagram views and picking through the numbers on those. So the new system really makes it more of a search-based experience. It's a lot faster to find the results that you're looking for, and allows us a number of things as we continue to develop the site. So in developing this new experience, there's a few things we wanted to do. We really wanted to draw attention to the use of the search box and really make it search-based. The other thing is we wanted to be visually clean. So we want to bring an emphasis to the pictures. We didn't want scroll boxes. We wanted at least 90% of the information to be above the fold, up on the top of the page. We want a system that's fully accurate, and so a system that's based on the various serial number that we're looking for. That's super key. We're very much committed to getting you the most accurate part for the exact machine that was built, even if it was a one-off machine, say. Okay, and then the other thing we wanted to do with this experience is make it easier to get to key information. So it's almost like a merging of parts. We call parts lookup, but really it brings you to solutions. And so again, if I look at this hydro motor and I select it, there's some key information here. Okay, so when installing this wheel motor, it's really important to tighten the hub to 140 foot-pounds of torque. We recommend that the mounting bolts don't get reused because they can stretch every time they're retorqued. And then there's some recommended parts in here and the reasons why they've been recommended. So it's the combination of a tech manual with a parts lookup system. The other thing that we wanted to do is make the web page just structured in a way that's a lot more seamless between a computer and a phone or tablet. So everything is easy to navigate, from larger boxes to swiping and those types of things, because we recognize that oftentimes it's easier to look for a part while you're in the shop than to go to the parts counter to find out what that part number would be. Or you might be in the stock room and thought you knew where the part was, but you could just pull out your phone to figure out what the part number is and not go back to the counter. So some definite benefits from that standpoint, making it seamless between the different types of devices. All right, so let's talk about the flow here. So like I've said already, the serial and keyword is the ultimate combination of things to get you the results exactly the way you want them. And you can just narrow in keywords, more keywords. But there's also this concept of chips. So if I enter 7777, I get this yellow chip down below. And that yellow chip is a filter that filters all these results. I can add additional chips, for example, 36. I could add WSTN, right? And it goes as a chip because it's one of those items that falls within the filters here. But if I say switch, that's going to narrow my results, but it doesn't add a chip because it's not, it's part of the search indexing. It's not one of these filters. Now, if I double hit the X, it clears the search. There's a list of recent serials, so I can pull up something I was looking for just recently there without writing down the serial number or getting out a notepad. So if we're not going to use a serial number, you can do something along the lines of this. So let me say WSTX Gen 2 52 inch. And I'm narrowing down my results within that. Then I could also say Kawasaki. I'm going to get Kawasaki only parts. So there's a lot of searching that you can do without the serial number and with the use of the chips. But again, the serial numbers, what I recommend 99% of the time. All right, so let's look in detail at a part view. So back to the wheel motor. We look at a part view. We've got the part number and description at the top. If I hit this little notepad button, it puts the part number on my clipboard. So if you go into your inventory system or something like that, or an email, you can just right click and paste. It makes it super easy to grab part numbers because that's ultimately what you're looking for in the system. You need part numbers. We could break down what's on this page a little bit here. So here's some specs on the item, repair information. Sometimes there are recommended repair parts. There's parts that are simply just suggested as good parts to use. These are driven by things that we may have seen. If one of these parts was used to support the key part here on a warranty claim, that might be part of a decision to create these narratives here. It could be just that, we know that if you're going to service a hydro component, we may as well show the filter as a suggested part because once you open the system, you may as well do the oil change. So that's the part view. When we get to the bottom, we have this tab for child parts. In other words, these are all the parts that are inside of the item that we're looking at. And then we also have all the mowers that part is used in. And then we also have all of the pages or assembly that part goes into. So you're not going to find yourself using these very often, but certainly they're available if needed. Okay, so now let's go to the mower view for a second. So we have details on the machine, mower, the model number. If we hit this little print button right here, it actually prints off something that would look like a paper parts manual for the entire machine. So if you've got a customer that wants a printed out parts diagram, they can certainly hit that button. Under this engine link here, we have the engine's spec number. And then a little further down here, we also have the engine serial number. So if you need to file a engine warranty on this mower, the mower serial number, you can just do that mower part search, and then you can come in here for your engine spec and serial number. Now, if I select this link, it will load Kawasaki's webpage, and you can see here that we have the diagrams for the engine that was installed on that mower, and there was no going to fetch other information. So it's super handy, super handy. We'll go back to our website here. Again, we have all the schematic views for the machine, and then after that, we start having all the parts that are rank higher for the item and including an entire list of pieces. That's if you want to pick through your results. I'm going to shrink that box, and these are your search results. So much easier to go after parts from a search standpoint. It really narrows down things super quickly, especially if it's a key item. It's not, you're going to want the schematic view if you're looking for a particular bolt, because if I do a search for a bolt, I'm going to get so many results that it doesn't really make sense. But, if I'm looking for the key switch, this is way faster than going in the diagram view. All right, so a couple other things just to be alert to. You could you can get as flexible as you want with this search box. So you could do some pretty extensive searches. So I could say standard, intensity, 48, left, cover. What did I do wrong? Probably misspelled something. Let's try that again. Yep. Got one result. This is what's screwing me up. I didn't clear my filter. But you can put a lot of words in there. Let me try a couple other material properties. Oh, we could put the engine. Let's say I don't have the mower serial number, but I do have the engine serial number. So I could put that in here. So let me put if I do that, it'll pull up the mower that engine was installed on. So there's multiple ways to get there. Another tip is if you ever put the word gathering in your search, that's our word for these schematic views. So let's say I know it's a hydro part, but there's too many results. There's 51 results. So that's kind of a pro tip. If you just add the word gathering, boom, you'll get that page. Or I could say something like deck gathering. And that's a little bit quicker than opening the mower view on the top. So keep that in mind. Double X, hitting the X twice clears the whole search. Hitting it once just clears the box. I can also put dimensions in here, so I could say 24 inches, and I have a piece of hose that's 24 inches. I can go by color. I could say green, and I have a couple pieces of green wire here. I could go by material. I could say plastic, say metal, something like brass, rubber. So a lot of ways to go about that. You could combine some of those terms. So I could say red rubber, and I have the boot that goes over the battery terminal. You can also use process words. So I could say weldment. And I get all the weldments for my serial number there. I could say injection, and I'd get injection molded parts. I get all the black plastic parts or just simply black parts. They have a metal piece that's black. I could put this keyword in and I could start going after things that way. So there's a lot of combinations that you could put in the search box. I would recommend that you just try stuff and see what results you get. If you're not getting what you want right away, you can always go into the schematic view to find what you're looking for. The reason I recommend this second is sometimes you think that the part's going to be on one page, but it's really on the other page. For example, all the pigtails for the engines are on the engine page, but you might go to the electrical diagram thinking it's part of the main harness. And so you can end up chasing things around that way, whereas if you do a keyword search, you can oftentimes get yourself there way, way faster and a lot less reading of small print. All right. Up here on the Help tab, there's a lot of information that, much like I was just going over here, a lot of details there. Oh, one other thing I did want to show here was, let's pick something in here. If I click on this engine oil drain, I'm looking for a part that's not available. Give me a second here. This might be a good example. Nope. Well, every now and then there's an item that says not available right here next to the part number. That just means that that particular item as displayed is not available for sale. But if you want the item, oftentimes what you can do is we sell it as part of an assembly. So maybe a spring like this, you might not be able to buy it as a spring alone, but you may be able to buy an RTN assembly for the pump, and that may be listed as a direct parent. Or maybe looking at the RTN assembly and it says it's not available, but you want the spring, and you can look at the child part and find it. So the available or not available just means that that item as it stands is not for sale. It doesn't make sense for us to sell every part number at every level. Some things it makes sense to consolidate as a sub-assembly or some type of a service kit. In other cases, we want to sell everything as individual pieces. So that's what's going on there. All right, and then lastly, the feedback tab. So if you hit the feedback button, you can enter in your name, email address, and shoot us a message. Note that this isn't just for feedback about the website and its continuous improvement. This can also be if you've got a technical question or really anything at all. Actually, sometimes this is better than giving us a call, because that email can get into the hands of the person who's got the most expertise in answering the question. And oftentimes you'll get a more specific answer given it by reaching us on the feedback side. So feel free to use that. Oftentimes we get back within, could be a couple minutes, a couple hours is usually about how long we get back to a feedback request. So feel free to use that for anything as much as you'd like. We value the feedback, and we have the ability to change this website on the fly. So, if we wanted to update some kind of really valuable information, or you have a diagnostic tip for us to put in an item, that's something that we can put in the system in 5 minutes, and it'll be published and updated. The other thing to know about this system is that whenever we make a change on our assembly line, that usually within 24 hours, the website is updated and reflects what we're building on the line. So it really is a live system. It's built and integrated with all the rest of our manufacturing systems. So it's continuously updated. Anyhow, please do take time to try out things with the search box. I know it's a significantly different parts experience than a lot of other things out there, but I'm also confident that when you get used to it, you'll find that you'll get more accurate results with higher value information in less time. So, dig in and learn some of the flow of how things work. And if you do make use of the recommended parts, if you're an owner of a machine and you're looking for parts, and say you're driving 20-30 minutes to your dealer, you don't want to go and buy an item, come back home and start your repair only to realize that you have a few pieces missing. It would be much more valuable to you to go ahead and buy the couple pieces that you need, and the recommended parts are going to help you with that. At the same time, as a dealer, you may not want to bring a mower in the shop only to find that you need another part halfway through, because that's going to make it ultimately more expensive to do that repair than if the recommended parts show everything that would be needed. And then also, as a benefit to you as a dealer, you get to sell more parts, and as a benefit in terms of an end customer, if you're looking for a part, you can ensure you're not making that trek back for that last part that you need and didn't know you need. So do make use of the advanced information that's on a lot of these parts as we continue to build out more and more technical information. I hope you found this to be helpful, and hope you have a great day.